Okay, so I wanted to make just a quick video to clarify a few different things that maybe some of you are struggling with. When you're trying to find the frequency or the RPM of a crankshaft position sensor, there are two different frequencies and RPMs that we're talking about. You could be calculating the frequency of the signal itself, or you could be calculating the frequency and RPM of the engine. So I'm going to show you how to do both real quick. So we're going to start with signal frequency. So we're going to zoom in on just the crankshaft position sensor here. We're going to drag over our cursors from one rising edge to the next rising edge. And frequency and RPM automatically pop up on the Pico Automotive software right down here. Or you could put in a measurement and say that on channel C, we want to know what the frequency is between those two rulers. Like that. And notice it pops up down here, and then you could do your math and calculate the RPM. Okay, now that's signal frequency, but now how do you do engine RPM or engine frequency? So that's a little bit different. So we've pulled up on this waveform here a camshaft position sensor and a crankshaft position sensor. The reason you'll need both for this is because on the crankshaft position sensor there's no repeating pattern. But the cam, you can see this simple repeating pattern up here. So we know that the camshaft spins one revolution for every 2 revolutions of the crankshaft. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in just a little bit on the whole trace here, enough that we can see one event. And we're going to drag over our cursors and line them up to this right here, and then to the next time we see that, which is right over here. So right there would represent 1 revolution of the camshaft or 2 revolutions of the crankshaft. So right here, we automatically get our frequency and our RPM, but this is not the engine RPM, this is camshaft RPM. So now to figure out what crankshaft RPM is, we would just either divide this in half, or you could pull over these blue rulers over here, line them up with your white cursors, add in a ruler partition so we get our halfway point, and then drag your white cursor back to this midpoint. Now that will give us engine RPM right there. Okay, so that is the difference between signal RPM or frequency and engine RPM or frequency.